Okay, good evening, everyone. We're still facing some challenges with my live stream. Just a few more, and I will have it. Okay, here we go. So, sorry about the delay. So, good evening. I'm making some changes and had to do some compromises, but here's a tutorial of some of the basic features in Logos 9. We'll start with the home screen or the home page, which is this sort of newspaper outlet function that you're seeing here. Just get a control. I had to switch at the last moment with the place of my live streaming, so that has thrown me off a bit. So I ask for your patience, bear with me. So here's our home screen, and you can customize it as you wish. I won't spend too much time with it, but all of the customization takes place in this little gear wheel here, where you can set the amount of columns, the banners on and off. Right now, that is more or less by default. Okay. Now that I have my control in place. So as I said, you can do most of your customization in here. Here you will see it shows what features you desire to have show up. If I select community page, feature suggestions, let's say pre-pubs, Logos training video, you notice that it's refreshing right now. And then, as you can see, it changes. So let's come out of the home page. I select home. I'm on the beta. We're on beta 2. So this button next to it is for the library. You select it and you can see all of your library. It shows you the total amount of volumes you have in your library. You can sort by title, type, Bible, Bible commentary, etc., author, my tags. So I've gone in and tagged some of the resources. The subject, license, permanent or temporary. I have 1 or 2 temporary licenses in here. The books that are last updated. So if you have an update, you can then choose how, if you want to see the last ones that were updated. So if I select this here, it shows me I had books updated. Saying the last time was November 4th. Not quite, but I was looking, yes. Today's the 14th. Okay, 16th. So this is probably close to correct as we'll get it for right now. So I go back to where that was initially. Over here, I have done a little changes. Logos has included a feature. Let's see if I can just drag this out of the way. Where I have placed these. So if I were to right click on this book here, I can then place it inside of a folder. And I type in the folder name. And in this case, I'm going to put in commentary. I think I got that correctly. And it disappeared. When I come here, there you go. So it's now inside this folder called commentary. I have a folder for Bible. I have a folder for dictionaries. That helps to declutter this bar up top here where I have so much stuff. This is your layouts panel where you would select this and you have the different layouts that you can save. I'm still checking to see if there's anyone waiting on the old site that I have set up but may have deleted. So that is up and running. Okay, so let's go back. We have our layouts. This is a close all button. You'll see what that does. This will show your account. And this shows a bit of information here. Browse all documentation, draw on screen, your scaling. I'm going to set it for 150. Notice that everything has gotten much larger. Make it easier to see. Application, you have system, light, dark. Logos has a dark mode, which you can use. Once you select dark, you will have to restart in order to apply it, but I won't do that. You then have program settings where you can change all the configurations in your program as you should see fit. And then we come here to your history. It shows you what you've been looking at, the last set of documents that you would have read. Okay, it's still telling me to restart, but I won't restart. My favorites, I have some. So here, when I'm doing a study, I can just drag different passages or books into a folder, which I would call a favorite. I've used this favorite feature to preach sermons with. And so I'd have my phone open, I'd go into the Logos app on my phone, and I would just click here, and then I know this is my next text. Come on. There you go. And I would just go through them like that. I'm not much of a manuscript preacher. something I believe is valuable. I'll get into eventually, but hasn't worked too much for me. So that's your history favorites. Download, which will take you to their website. Use Logos Online and about Logos Bible software. So if I go to use Logos Online, it opens up a web browser, app.logos.com, where I have access to a lot of the tools. And as you can see, you have some of the stuff in guides, tools, you have some of the tools, the features, documentation. Some of those are available. You see documents that are already created. If I want to create a new one, I would go here. And as you can see, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. Let's start that again. So when I click, it goes here. Already created. If I want to create a new one, I would go here. Sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. Let's start again. It goes here. Okay. I'll turn the sound down on my phone to avoid feedback. So you're now looking at Logos in a browser, and this comes in handy so that if you are not at your computer, but you need to do some work, you can quickly go to any browser, type in app.logos.com, and it will open up Logos Bible software to where you last left it. So let's go back to the app itself. So I'm back in the app. Now let's look at some of the features. I showed you the home page, the home button, the library. As I said, I'm on the beta. Logos releases a new beta approximately every week, once per week. So every 6 weeks, they will update it. Presently, we are on 9.1. And as you can see, I'm on beta 2. So when I come here now, I have Factbook. And this will be a new icon that they will place up here. And Factbook has been revamped from Logos 8. It's a much richer feature or tool within the app. And here's how you can easily access it. On your Bible, you will see it. You'll notice it's not on 100 illustrations for preaching and teaching because it's something that works with your Bible. If I open a commentary, there's no Factbook. So I have it toggled. I turn on the visual filter and you'll notice right away the word John is underlined with blue dashed lines or dotted lines. If I deselect Factbook Visual Fader, it disappears. Hope you see that. Whenever you see a word in Logos that's blue or it's underlined in that way, it means it's interactive and it can lead you to something else. So let's select the word priest. As I put my mouse over the word priest, you see it gives you some information right away. It says generic person or priest, any person authorized to perform, religious rites on behalf of another person. If I click through on it, here we go, it opens up the Factbook and it gives you information on this particular item. Factbook covers a number of of names, or rather names, persons, places, things. Those are the 4 that I remember right now. But since I cannot remember, I will go into show help card. Each resource, those of you who are familiar with Logos 8, has this panel here. So I say show help card, enter a person, place, thing, event, voice, or topic to gather detailed information with links to other areas in Logos where you can learn more. Remember I said anything that is in blue, you can open up. So if I select open help article, in this case, it takes me to their website. It takes me to Logos website where you can get more information on Factbook. And that's what it's doing right now. You can learn how to use it if necessary. There's also a documentation. Logos has built-in documentation right within the software itself. So I'm going to close that for now and get back to the software. I'll be popping in to monitor YouTube from time to time, just to make sure and see if anyone else has any questions or anything of that nature. So in Logos Bible software, you have information, key passages, passages on the priest, and you can see them all here. You can save as a passage list to retrieve later. Open the 5 passages in the New King James Version. And it opened the first one here. Come on. Okay, it's going through them one by one by one. But I can also save as a passage list. And I can pull this up at another time when I need it. So let's go back to Factbook. So that's so much for passages, the key passages. You also have media, depending on what you have in your library. The more resources you have in your library, the better Logos can work. Logos is like a large research assistant whom you can send to the library and get information. But of course, if the library resources are poor, then your assistant will not be able to find much. And so the greater your library, the more diverse your library, the better results you will get with Logos when you send your assistant to go and find information. So here I have an icon. I can select this icon and it opens up, and I can then take it and I can say send to Faith Life Proclaim PowerPoint. I have several options that I can then utilize. So if I select PowerPoint, it opens PowerPoint and it pastes the item right inside of it, inside of PowerPoint. And you can do whatever you want to with that. Okay, I'm going to close that. I did not pull PowerPoint up on the screen, but I think you understand it will actually open PowerPoint even if it's not open. So those are your key passages. That's your media referred as. And here you have your Hebrew, your Greek. Translated, you can get more as priest, implied subject, verb, how many times it's found. And if I were to expand, let's say priest here, Logos finds all of the references to where the word priest is mentioned. Let's select more. And it will keep doing that. Going to select more. And notice now it says house of Aaron from this one word priest. Because they're saying that this phrase here, O house of Aaron, refers to the priest. Now that information is hand coded or hand tagged, where they go through the text itself, the Bible, and decide that this phrase here, what is this phrase referring to? This is referring, the word house of Aaron is referring to priests. And so they code that so that when it comes back, Logos will know that when the scripture says house of Aaron, it actually is referring to priests. That is one of the reasons why Logos software, or the resources rather, can be so expensive, because you have to pay someone to do that. And any other database that you add to the software has to be manually done unless there's something already in place. So that is something that you will find here. So as we go back up, referred to as, what events do we have? We have nothing. Biblical senses. Priests, are you talking about a noun? A person who performs religious duties, are you talking about the chief priest? Are you talking about the high priest? And they can all lead in different directions depending on which one you select. And then you have dictionaries. Logos looks at your highest prioritized dictionary. And you say, how do you know which one is the highest prioritized? You go into library, come across, Control L is another way to open it and keep it open. I come across here, say prioritize resources, and I can drag and drop. These are my top 5 Bibles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then underneath that, I have several others. I prioritize the Seventh Adventist Bible Dictionary, followed by Anchor Yale, Lexham Bible. When it comes to commentaries, Andrew Study Bible Notes is the highest prioritized. These are my encyclopedias, so Logos will go to these first and see if the article is there. There's information on whatever I selected. We then have my dictionaries, regular dictionaries, then Bible commentaries again, in the order that I selected. So you can prioritize. One more thing on the library since I'm in there. If I right click, I have several options where it says open in a new tab, open in floating window, prioritize this resource, start reading plan, remove from this device. So since I had promised several persons, I'm going to paste this link on Faith Life. For those individuals whom I had told it would be available, they could watch. So I'm going to put new link. And one more. So updating Faith Life Adventist Group. Okay, so I updated those. Now, let's get back into the software. So you have all of these features here, dictionaries. The thing with the new fact book, when I put my mouse over the word, which again, as you'll note, is highlighted in blue, it automatically gives me a preview as to what that particular resource says. And so I can decide whether or not I want to explore further. And if I want to explore further, I would select the word and it would open the dictionary, as in the case over here. I put my mouse over the name of the resource in Factbook, and it tells me something about the resource. And you can do that for all of your dictionary entries. We come down to journals. And I would have to expand that particular journal, and notice when I do the same thing, I get the information there. This tells me about the resource. This gives me information on the word or the Factbook entry. Sermons, it looks through my sermons to see if I have anything on priests. As far as I know, I do not. I haven't used the Logos Sermon Builder much. Okay, these are, sermons inside the documents. And so here, right away, I get a pop-up, a preview of whatever's in there. Books from my library, it says no. I'm still seeking to understand this, but basically, it's looking for books that deal specifically with the topic of priests. And I'll give you an example of that in just 1 second. I'm going to choose another one. When I come to books from the library, it seems to be a hit and miss because sometimes it gets it, sometimes it does not. And I have a lot of books on this one topic here. So I choose God. And again, no results. For whatever reason, nothing is happening. I choose love. And again, I'm getting no results. So something seems to be broken or not working with that aspect of it there. It's a bug that needs to be reported. Go into bookstore, it searches books online that Logos have chosen for the topic of love. And as you can see, you have several along with the price. So that's an overview of Fact Booked right there. Also tells you see also. And you can do a subject. It has beloved, which is a word related to love, brotherly love. I can open the topic guide and it will open up to the word love, related verses, atlas, biblical places, people, events, biblical things. So no results on biblical things, biblical events. God instructs Moses and Aaron about the priesthood. So it seems to still be on the word priest. I don't know why it's stuck on priest, but be that as it may. And so let's try that again. Fruit of the Spirit. I go to topic guide and tell it to open. There we go, fruit of the Spirit. So let's close all, and this is the button that close all panels that I was talking about earlier. I select that and we close all. So let's look a little further now. Let's go into documents. Documents is just a feature in Logos that stores all of your work. And so you can see information that is shared. So the different groups that I'm in where persons have shared information, they are in this section here. You have type, whether it's a notebook, word find puzzle. I'll show you that in a moment. Last 30 days, when was it created? Which language? So it's looking at when I go into documents, mine, come on. Groups. It will pull up all documents that were shared with groups that I'm a part of. And that's what you're seeing here. I'm in a number of groups. Shows the name of the individual, how many users are in that particular group, and then public. What documents are there that were shared publicly for everyone? So here we see this one has 589 users, done by Phil Gons, an employee at Faith Life. And this one was John Piper's questions asked. John Piper's asked questions method. Because I have it so large, it's difficult to see everything. But the unique thing about it is when I go back in the documents, I can create a new document. Let's go there. Oh, come on. All right. So I have several options. Yes. It's a little frustrating at times, partly because of the size. Let's reduce this back to 100. Documents, there we go, new. So I can create a new bibliography, Canvas clippings. All of these are different documents that I can create to store different information and write stuff. But I'm going to show you one, which a lot of persons will find, especially those of you with young children or who work in children's ministries. Untitled Word Find Puzzle. I'm going to name this Jonah. You can see here, you can edit it. And for my reference, I'm going to choose Jonah chapter 1, verse 10 to 16. And I have the New King James Version set. And then over here, I have small, medium, large, extra large. I'm going to choose extra large. And these 6 verses it generates. And so what the user would do, if they're completing this puzzle on the computer, they would begin looking for words. So let's see if we can find one. And I'm going to allow diagonals. I'm going to allow backward words. That makes it even more difficult. So let's see if we can find 1 or 2. The first one would be the word afraid. Hold the mouse, A-F-R-A-I-D. And when you get it correct, Logos crosses it off. Let's try another one, nevertheless. I know I've not done this before, but I've just learned how they do these puzzles, where to look for them. Let's try exceedingly. So in this case, what I would do is I look for anything that has E and an X in close proximity to it. So this is EX. So then I would look for C. Of course, it's not always that easy, but you can still try it. And as you can see, this one is not coming up as easily. So sometimes what I would do is I just find an X. An X is a letter that is not rare. So if I go here, I then start looking EXC. So here we go, EXCEEDINGLY. So that's Bible puzzle. Let's close that. And you can also find a solution. Let's look at guides. Logos 9 has something called a counseling guide, which is this here. And it remembers the last word I used. So I'm going to use another word. Let's stick with anger. Many people don't realize that Microsoft Windows, most programs are written this way. I do not have to use my mouse. Once the word is highlighted in blue, I can simply hit enter and it will find it. Or I could have used the mouse. So here it says counseling topic, mood, principles. So I can open the counseling guide, the principles or mood. Men in rage strikes those that wish them best. Quote from Shakespeare. And then quick reference guide to biblical counseling. You have this here. The counseling guide is included, I think, in every silver package and upward. You will have it, and they give you a few resources to get you started. Then you can purchase additional books on counseling to expand your library and the resources that are available to you. Logos has what they call expansion, library expansion, or is it feature expansion? I think it's library expansion, which will give you a lot of resources that on a particular field area. So it could be on counseling, New Testament, Old Testament, Bible background, New Testament, Greek languages, and that would help you with the amount of resources that you would have. So when I go into monographs, this is what's available to me because I have not purchased much resources or more resources on counseling. So my options are pretty scanty. Someone who has a larger counseling library will have more resources under monographs. So that's your counseling guide. We come back into guide. You have your passage guide, which has been reworked, sorry. So John 6, 1 to 71. This is a long one, and here you'll notice there's always the health tip when you first open these features. I'm going to use the mouse this time. And it looks, first of all, at your content. And this guide is customizable. It has gone through all of my documents, which I showed you up here, to see where I have anything on John 6, 1 to 17. And I have it in passage lists, legacy passage lists, notebooks, verses, Jesus through the eyes of John, sermon I started, and it goes right through. This is customizable. If you don't want all of these features in here, you can delete it, remove, and it tells you what each section is for. So put your mouse over the question mark, commentary section, and then in settings, I can quickly look at which commentaries do I want. Logos will pick them up pretty much automatically. But let's just say I wanted to concentrate on commentaries that deal more with the Gospel of John. When I do this, it knows what to look for. I put my mouse over it, notice it's blue, and I get a pop-up as to what the commentary has to say on it. Put my mouse over the author's name. Come on. This one doesn't seem to be working. Maybe because I changed it, I'll have to look and see word by word. I've added this feature in. So if I come up here, I can add different sections to my guide. And so instead of having the exegetical guide, which is this here, open separately, I've simply included as a part of the passage guide, and I only wanted the word for word section. And so with the exegetical guide, I'm looking at 71 verses, which is large. I can come here and choose mouse over the word Jesus, and you'll notice that it's highlighted in Greek to the left. If I select it, then Logos jumps to that section of the guide that has the word Jesus, and it's automatically bolded for you to make it easy to find. And in this case, even though the noun is here, they're saying in the Greek, it's really is this the pronoun? It says the article, rather, nominative, singular, masculine, attributive article. Put your mouse over anything that's blue, you get a pop-up explaining what do they mean by masculine. What is nominative? And you can do that with any word, whether you start from the Greek or the Hebrew. So this time I'm going to choose a Greek word, and here it is. The word went. Logos will pronounce it for you. It will pass it. Aorist active, indicative, third person, singular. It's a finite verb. And you can also add your own note here to it, if you so desire. So that's our word by word. Then you have your journals where it does the same thing. It looks to see if you have journals that cover this particular section. And because I made the pericope so large, basically the entire chapter, you're bound to get a hit. So these are what my journals are like on this particular passage. So in this case here, let's choose something much smaller. Luke chapter 5, verse 8. Okay, you'll notice it changed up here. So my word, notice now my journal section is much smaller. So when I put my mouse over the name of the journal, it shows me the cover and something about the journal. And that goes on with all of these. Biblical people, if there's a person mentioned in this text here, biblical person, then this will pull it up here. And let's see what this passage is all about. That's Luke 5 and 8. Okay. It talks about Simon Peter, it talks about Jesus. So here, family tree Peter, the 12 apostles, because it's made mention of Peter, 12 apostles, a dead girl and a sick woman. Again, the life of Jesus, infant and early ministry. If I were to pull this one up, Faith Life Study Bible infographics. These are hand curated, where someone looked at the text and made this little thing here and somebody put this in. I remember when we did this, it was very challenging. I think I did one on the Good Samaritan and stopped. Just too much work. So that's what this is all about here. This is hand curated. And here you have your graphics again. And as I said, you can take these. I right click, save as, send to Faith Life Proclaim, send to PowerPoint. I can print it, I can save it as an image. That same thing would be biblical things, biblical events, life of Jesus. And since I type in Luke 4, 5, and 8, you notice this section here goes from 4 to 9 and 50. Jesus' ministry, Galilean ministry. All of these are part where this one passage covers. Then outline of Luke's gospel has something on Luke 5 and 8. It's a part of an outline. And so you can pull up any of these outlines from here. You see what it has. Figurative language, Lord as Jesus. And because he says, "Oh Lord, depart from me, for I'm a sinful man," they're saying this word here also refers to Jesus. And as I said, that's hand curated. It's done by hand. Literary type is narrative gospel, narrative commission. What type of literature is it? Cultural concepts. It's a miracle because of what had happened. Because of the large catch of fish. Okay. And then is the passage found in other ancient literature, language, ancient literature, sorry. So you put your mouse over and see whether you want to open this and you select it and see if there's something in there that really relates to it. It is not terribly accurate, but it deals with the concept, the concept of a miracle, something relating to Peter would be found in this section here. And here it is, we find here, Peter saying, "Depart from me, for I'm a sinful man, O Lord." So that is why it found this here. Don't know if these are hand curated or not. Biblical theologies, theology proper, New Testament. The passage is found in this section here, so you can look it up and see what a biblical theology of the New Testament has to say on Luke 5 and 8. And all of this is possible because Logos builds a massive index. I look at the index for my library, it's over 10 gigabytes, and that's just text, words. So Logos knows where every word is in every resource in the software, which enables you to find information very quickly. And skip, you have topics, illustrations, music, if you have music, Faith Life music, your media collection, interactives, compare versions, textual variants, grammars, visualizations. For those of you who like to look at the Greek, I'll open one. And here we find it, participle clause. And okay, yes, verb at the bottom of the screen, verb present active participle, singular nominative masculine. So even if you don't know Greek or your Greek is very rusty or just poor like mine, Logos has something that will help you. That's visualizations. I'm going to move now to the Bible word study, and I'm going to use prayer. And it looks at the Hebrew words for prayer because I chose all passages. Remember, if it's blue and underlined, it's interactive. I'm going to use just in the book of Revelation. And so When I look at the Hebrew, there would be no results because Revelation is in the Greek New Testament. But my textual searches in my top 5 Bibles, you can see each of them say 3 results. So it's pretty consistent. Prayer vow, place of prayer, and if I expand it, I get more information on it. Acts 16:16, as he went to prayer, that a certain slave girl, where prayer was customary wont to be made. This is by the riverside in Philippi. And so Logos looks for places that deals with prayer or where prayer was being offered. And it pulls those up for you. So it's very handy in finding information. Before, you'd have had to read and go through it one by one through a concordance to see. And even if the word prayer is not mentioned in the passage, it will still find it if the concept of prayer is mentioned. And that's the beauty of it. So that's Bible Word Study Guide. Bible Word Study. Let's try another one. I'm going to try the New Testament. Let's say the Gospels. And here we go. This is what I wanted you to see. Different words. So, desis, if I got this correctly, is one word that is translated prayer in our Bible. But prosekomai, I think that's right pronunciation. Proseke, they all translated prayer. I'm not saying the pronunciation for it. And then topics, no results, textual searches, phrases. And of course, again, you can remove something from the Bible word study, and the next time you run it, it will not show up. So here's this feature here, close all. Let's stay with guide, theology guide. This is nothing new. So under systematic theologies, so if I say search all systematic theologies, it goes into my library and looks at all the books that I have in systematic theology. And the one that I would be interested in at the top, The Reign of God by Richard Rice. So I'm going to right click it, prioritize this resource. And let's see, there's no refresh on here. Is there? No. So I'm going to try, and it's still not picking up. So I'm going to use the word God. And let's see. Library downloaded. Chose God the Father this time. Systematic theologies. Okay, here's something else. Articles rank resource by count. Logos has a new feature. I forgot to make mention of that to you. I think it is in the passage guide under commentaries. Yes, where priority, Seventh Adventist commentary is my preferred commentary, but I can do series. I can do by author. I can go by denomination. By type. Era. Time when it was written, contemporary, modern. So you can sort your commentaries in different ways. So under theology proper now, when I use God the Father and I scroll to the bottom, search all systematic theologies. Library downloaded. Carl F. Henry is one. And so I still don't get my prioritized commentary, but it is somewhere in here, the reign of God. For whatever reason, it's not showing up. I'd probably have to pull it and look, see why it's not showing up. But this would go through your commentaries. So theology guide, exegetical guide, I've given you an overview of that. Topic guide, what's the difference between topic guide and fact book? Food of the Spirit. Let's try something. Okay, here we go. Key article, media, key passages. You have dictionaries, and I'm going to make this a little smaller. Okay, try and keep them together. Sermon outlines, faith life sermons, illustrations. In fact book, as you can see, it's a much slimmed down version, but it's pretty solid in finding the information. So you'd have to see which one suits you better. As you can see, topic guide has sermons, sermon outlines, faith life sermons. This one here has sermons. Okay, if you have questions, you can type them in the chat. I'll try and remember and check the chat periodically. So we come here, we have bookstore, books from your library, but this one has personal letters, interactives. So topic guide here does a better job on the subject in terms of the resources that are available. This is something that is probably will change in the future. If we try another word, God, deity, yes. And you have events. So it seems as if topic guide would be the de facto spot for you to start researching a topic, a word, a passage, etc. So let's look at Luke 5, verse 8. Jesus' Galilean ministry. Automatically pulled it up. When I do the same here, the results are different. I get Gospel of Luke. So it depends on if you want a topic, this is better, but fact book covers a much wider variety of features. Like I say, it seems as if it's going to be a go-to section of the software to start your work or your research, as the case might be. Basic Bible study. Basically what that does, you enter passage 5 verse 8, and there you go. It walks you through the process of doing Bible study. You make your observation, then you read the passage in other translations, identify people in your passage, identify important cross references, and it helps you through the process of studying. That's what that is designed to do. You have expository sermons, a workflow guide uses through a specific task. Enter Bible reference. You're going to stick with Luke 5 and 8. Begin with prayer, reflect on your passage, and it works you right through step by step by step. I'm going to close all of these. Biblical person study. So let's say we say David. Then it wants to know, are you talking about the commander, general, king, musician? Are you talking about the man supporting David, Abigail, wife of David? And so it's giving you a lot of suggestions as to what you can do when it comes to David. Shaphat, descendant of David. All of this is information that is in here. So you look at David, watchman. And it opens up to research a person. What role does a person play in biblical events? And you can just go through from there on building a sermon. But no, that was person study. Then I've showed you the counseling guide. Let's look at tools. And I'm going to start, I mean, you have to pick through this. You have your sermon manager, which manages all of your sermon. I have not really used it much, so I don't have much in here. Tells you I started a sermon in here. Emmanuel, God is with us, August 19, 2020 on a Wednesday. When I select it, it brings up the information over here in my right. So if you build your sermons, write your sermons in Logos, that can come in quite handy. Then you have your atlas. And here in the atlas, I can type in something in the find field. So let's go with Samaria. And I'm talking about the city, the region, the rulers, etc. Let's go with the city. And here this time we have it nicely colored. Not seen this feature before. But suppose you want to see what does modern day Samaria look like. Then you go into your menu panel here, open Google or Bing Maps. Let's use Google Maps. And so I'm going to share the screen. And here we are. This is what it looks like today. Don't know why the map is so far off. And of course, you know, you can switch to satellite view and you can zoom in. And here you have Damascus, same as if the name has not changed. Jerusalem, the West Bank. And look at, based on the quality of the photos that were placed in Google Maps, will determine what you're able to see. So that's about it right there. It's not going to get any sharper. So that gives you an idea. So we go back. When we look at tools, we have Canvas. Those who do working with the text. So if you are someone who do these sort of things, lines and arrows, sentence diagramming, etc., you would drag it over. I don't use it, never really studied it, so cannot speak too much on it. I now come to we've covered Factbook, Faith Life Assistant. Open the passage guide to Luke chapter 6, verse 8.
I'm sorry.
Open the passage guide to Luke chapter 6, verse 8. Because it's reading the word guide. Open the passage guide to Luke chapter 6, verse 8. So if you want to sit on the couch, hook the laptop up to your smart TV, you can just talk and get it to do some work, at least depending on what you're trying to do. Unless you have a wireless keyboard. So You can then navigate from here and do whatever you need to do. So that's Passage Guide. Faith Life Assistant, sorry. Highlighting, you can highlight passages in different colors. I will open my Bible. I select some text, and notice here it says Open Highlight Tool. I can make it red, purple, whatever color I choose. Style, lines, text only, share, study, and I can study from there. But the major thing I would use is highlighting it. So if I press Y on my keyboard, oops, I need to come back. I press Y on the keyboard, it's going to highlight this passage here, Luke chapter 6, verse 9. In yellow. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. And no matter which Bible I open, this is parallel resources for you to see other resources. I'm going to switch to the English Standard Version. And Luke chapter 6, verse 9 is also highlighted in yellow. And it carries across the different versions. Information, put your mouse over it, will tell you what it will do. Let's go back there. Tooltip shows more information about any word you point at with the mouse pointer. So let's test it side on. But I have mine set to click. And so what happens now is I can get in word info, definition of side on. Because selecting it when the Factbook visual filter is on will open Factbook, I may probably change it so that it is on Hoover. However, sometimes you may have it on Hoover and I'm looking at the word tie and I accidentally move it and I lose my, and it switches because the focus has been switched. So that's why I've always set it to select, but since select will also open Factbook, I may have to rethink that. Media, browse through the media collections that you own, create shareable images, which is basically this here. Find media, let's choose David. It's going to go through my library, look at all of the instances of David that I have. And I did it good. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So when I right click this, nothing happens. If I select it with the left mouse button, it pulls it up. I can now print. I can send to Faith Life Proclaim PowerPoint. I don't remember why this is coming up, something I had set up here. I can save as an image. I can copy to paste in something else. Or I can simply send to Faith Life Proclaim or PowerPoint. It will open that particular app and put the photo in it. So my notes search, I think I've gone over this, but I'll pull it up. You can also open the search bar from up here. That is different from this here, enter passage or search. So you have Bible search, and remember where it is blue and underlined or highlighted, it can be changed. So I can search all Bibles, or I can narrow it down, all Bible texts, sorry. I can search in just the Gospels, or I can search all passages, or just the book of Revelation, Old Testament and New Testament, just the Old Testament. I can search my top Bibles, which are chosen from the way I set them up in the library, or I can just search one Bible. Fuzzy Bible search. Here's where Fuzzy Bible search comes in. You know the passage, but you can't quite remember. So you know it has something to do with horse. Let's try and see if that works. Horse, and it's something to do with run or Jordan. Let's see if that can figure it out. There you go. Jeremiah 12:5. If you have run with footmen and they have buried you, then how can you contend with horses? So if I'm looking at something and I say Jacob, salvation, it didn't pull up the one that I was thinking of. I was hoping it'd find the one in Genesis. But what if I said Jacob and famine? Comes up nothing. So instead of New King James, let's try Top Bibles. And it finds it. So let's try that first verse. And this is why I use several versions in my Top Bible search, because they will translate it differently. So let's try Jacob and one last one. I've been reading in Genesis, so I know what I'm looking for. Jacob and bow. Here we go. When he's blessing his sons here, Genesis 47:31, when he's talking to his son Joseph. But it pulled up this one because of the word bow. But I probably really should have looked at sword. Let's see. No. If I take out Jacob, there we go. 48 and 22. So as you go along, you will learn. There's a feature that Logos has, which will help you. And that's this here in the, let's call this the table of contents. So if you say this before that, the word truth before love. So let's try that. By the way, I use my tab key. That's how I move from one field to the next. And then I tell it to search. So it has here truth before love. And you can learn the syntax for the searches because the syntax is all capitalized. When I do search, it pulls up several versions. Truth in love. So I think you get the gist of it there. A person speaks about something where Jesus, so I'm going to try Jacob, speaks about salvation. Oh, Jacob, son of Isaac, speaks about salvation. Let's see what it finds. There we go. I have waited for your salvation, O Lord. So the word Jacob is not in it. However, what you do discover is that I here, and I must have disabled my visual filters because it should be telling me who is speaking. Okay. That was Genesis 49:18. Probably because the same person is speaking why it's not showing up. Yes. So it started from verse 1 and it shows that Jacob is speaking this entire time. Okay. So here we go then. And the search feature can come in quite handy when looking up words, Hebrew word not translated as, Greek word identified as a particular person, Greek word not translated as. So let's try that and see. Greek word, logos, not translated as the word word. But it is quite handy. Basic search would search your library. So I can choose the everything, or because it's highlighted, I can choose to define a collection that I have, and I have many of them. Bible background 3. And I would take that out and type in Satan, for example. Search for person Satan instead. Okay. So if I choose that, and it looks through my library, and this is what it finds. 4,588 results in 1,928 articles and 201 resources in less than half a second because of that index. So the indexing will slow down your computer when it's building, but be patient. It's very valuable. You have your media search. Okay. You have your clause search. Some of these I hardly use. So I'm going to try one. Okay. Morphology, syntax, Greek words not identified as a particular person. I'm going to use logos. I need to put in the G. Okay, something I'm doing there, but I think you get the gist of what that's about. Not going to spend a lot of time on it. It's not something I'm very comfortable with. Sermon builder, where you can put in your information, text comparison tool. Now it opened up here. I seldom want it here. So in this case, I would select the plus sign and I can choose the cited by, I can choose my information, which is already open, power lookup pronunciation, community passage explorer, copy Bible verses. So let's say power lookup. What it does is it looks up all of these references on this page here. So when I change this, that will also change because it is set to follow. And that's what it does. That works with any resource. Let's choose, and notice, it looks at the resource that is in focus. Let's call it that. But the text comparison tool is here. Normally I would just put that over here where I prefer it to be. So Daniel 2:42, it looks at all of these verses and you can choose which versions you want in it from here. And it compares Daniel 2 and 42 and pulls it up in all of those versions over there. So charts, I'll show you the chart feature. Chart feature is something that works in conjunction with the search. So I'm going to go back into Bible and I'm going to look for God. Now I just did this on my top Bibles for the entire Bible, so it's going to take a while to populate. I probably should have just chosen one. So let's change that to New King James Version. Good, populates much faster. And if I wanted to add another version, I would select it here. Okay, now I want to chart it. This is another feature from Logos 8, but it has been developed even further. So here we go. Psalms has 18% of the word God with 4,872 times. I go into my menu, my contents, and I can change this. Columns, bar, donut, nested donut, but I prefer the donut 3D or the pie 3D. Okay, I can also change it. Whoops. Here, default, beautiful rich colors. And you can play around with these. Show legend, it puts it at the bottom, but of course it makes it much smaller. Show data value labels. You can choose how it will look. All of these are here. Winter. All of these are part of the chart feature. And then I can send that to clipboard. I can save, I can print, export. Still don't remember what this is all about. Something I must, okay. Sermon. This is an example of something I started doing on prayer. And let's see. Here we go. So this is my the results of my search. And with this, if I publish it, it goes to publish to Logos site. Or I can, I'm trying to remember now, change it to slides over here. Good. Share, public group, neither for the time being. When I come here, print export, send the Faith Life Proclaim, post the Faith Life Sermons, export to PowerPoint. So you have several options when working with the text. One of the things that I dislike about this, I've been having trouble editing it. But same as if it, that those changes have been made. So you have your charts, guide editor. Let's try this one. I've never used this before. I'm not familiar with this, so I'll skip it for now. I have to read up on it. Highlighting. I showed you highlighting media, notes, self-tests, tests that you've started. Haven't really done much. Sermon builder, showing you that sermon manager, workflow editor. Then we come down to the passage, copy Bible verses. I open that up there. I can copy and paste. Copy to Microsoft PowerPoint. Copy and paste, as I said. And you have a few features there. Explorer. As I've shown you, this is here. Based on what passage is here, it will pull up information on the passage that you have linked up here. Biblical places, biblical things, etc. Let's clear the board. So when we come to text comparison, I've shown you that passage analysis. There are different things you can do with that. And I've chosen in this case here, you have several versions and you have different pericopes. Word tree, these words that are frequently done, morphology river, cluster, version river. Excuse me. We move on to reference, Atlas, Bible browser, lexicon, Let me show you Bible browser. So I'm going to try to find an easy way to close everything. Okay, so I'm looking for people. So let's look at the genealogy of David. And I'm looking for David. David, he's an author, psalmist. And you have all of these here. Choose Abigail, wife of David. So it looks at passages that deal with the wife of David, which was Abigail. And that's what these are here for. Let's look at supernatural being. What do we have here? God. So Abigail, the wife of David, the name God. Please forgive the trespass of your servant, for the Lord, my Lord. I'm not saying why this one is chosen, but that's what it is. You can narrow down all of these here. It says the Lord has returned the evil of Nabal upon his head. So looking at Abigail, wife of David, is the person. Name God, context communal. What has God done? So that's Bible browser. It has a lot of potential once you get into it, I believe. Concordance, just like a concordance helps you find every word in the Bible or a particular book. It opens all of the courses that you have available, that you have purchased. And these are mine. You can choose what you're looking for. You can narrow it down. So if I were to use Revelation, then it shows me what I have on that here. 2 courses. Something is missing. I don't know why it's only showing. Okay. Yawn, Pauline. There you go. So that's what the courses tool does. Fact book, reading list, where you can create a topic. Anybody can edit it on different subjects and put links to it in Logos, the web, etc. I'll pull up one. Now, why did that open? I went to, okay, reading list, right. So it remembers the last one that I opened, Sabbath, and persons have edited this because there's information here that I did not put. The EC I would have done, I'd have put these ones in, but someone else put these in here. And this actually was leading to a website. Page you are looking for is not found. So it has to be updated periodically, but I've never had the time to update that for a while. So let's look at something else now. We have our timeline. Let's search for I'll get nothing because of the restriction I've placed in here. If I type 81, let's say, to 1851, which is pretty wide. Nobody knows the date of the Apostle Paul. Jerusalem. So it's going to look up dates that are found in library on Jerusalem. Nothing. Okay. But you see the value of the timeline. So whenever you open a book, and you see that little flag, let's see if I can find one. Trying to think of one, something that would have a date. Okay, they come to me, I'll get back to it, but you do have some, well, let's try a dictionary. Jerusalem, okay. I hope this is the most current one. Looking for something relating to the destruction of Jerusalem, which would have a timeline. To give you an idea of what it looks like. Okay, here we go. 1900 to 1800 BC on Jerusalem. And earliest references, okay. So that's what the timeline feature will do for you. Wikipedia, just opens Wikipedia in your browser. Look up cited information. We've gone through these already. Library, collections, favorites, history, favorites. You can drag information here. So I would say put that in there. And it will save it. History. I said history and Siri starts thinking I'm saying Siri. So it shows what I've been looking at. And this is showing everything from today. Logos keeps a record. I can clear it, of course. I usually never do that. So let's close these. Social, ask the author. I don't know how many authors actually monitor this. That opens the Faith Life community notes. If I have community notes on any passage, it will show up here since I probably have the filter turned off for this here. So let's see. Community tags. Okay, community notes. There we go. So as I go through, here's one. 8 years ago. And I shared this publicly with everyone. This is under my name in Faith Life. So I can add a community note and choose which group I want to see it, whether everyone in Faith Life or just a particular group. So this is good for Bible studies. If you're doing a Bible study and you have a group, a church group, which you have created in Faith Life, you can then share your notes with each other. But maybe you don't want to share, you want to share with note A, but not note B. That is also possible. And that's what community notes will do. Or maybe you just share it publicly for everyone to see. That's also possible. Utilities, your Faith Life Assistant, I've shown you that one. Personal books, you can create a book that will work as a Logos book. I've done one, so I'll pull up this one here, which I'll be publishing soon. So I've created this. This is not the original one, but just to give you an idea, the original one actually had the input field. So to give you a better idea as to what it looks like. So you will notice here, this is from a physical book, Adult Bible Study Guide, the Seventh Adventist use around the world. And it has the day, the date. This is the teacher's edition, so it says 66 of the standard edition. And he converts these. We have someone who does this every quarter for us. Your passage, it will open up. You can type your notes in here. And the good thing with Logos is if I type notes in here and I go to another computer where I have the same resource, the notes will transfer because everything syncs. And that's what's happening right here. So it says synchronization is enabled, all items are up to date. So that's a good example of a personal book that was created for Logos. And then of course your program settings. So you have your blank layout and you can customize this as you so choose. Resource panel background, I have paper. Let's try very light gray. It changes on the fly without having to restart. Default resource font, it's at Times New Roman right now. Notes at Arial, Greek text. Show selection menu, yes. So you have all of those features, tools there, program settings. The interactive media, I think you'll find quite interesting. And this is not finished as yet. They have a whole lot more to put in here that they're working on. All the miracles in the Bible, all the prayers in the Bible, all of the this, all of the wars, I imagine, something of that nature. So let's try, I want to pick one, Canon comparison. So you want to know, and we can float this, Control F11. I'm going to drag this out a little more so it will show everything. Here we go. So Genesis, it's found in the Anglican canon, but it was not among the Dead Sea Scrolls. They're saying Jewish, Lutheran, Orthodox, and the list goes on. So with this, you can scroll on Maccabees. Anglicans use it. Assyrian Church of the East, not Beta Israel, no Dead Sea Scrolls, not Jewish. Lutherans, Orthodox, Protestants, as we are. Roman Catholics, yes, they use it. Samaritan Pentateuch, and you go right on and look at all of them. Then we come to the, okay, I was showing you interactive guides. Listen and learn Greek, Hebrew alphabet tour. Psalms Explorer is one that I like. So I expand, I go back, Psalms of Praise, and it will only show me Psalms of Praise. And the larger the dot, the longer the psalm. Remember, psalms are initially songs or poems. So I put it over 15. I put it over, let's choose something up. Psalms 106. Genre, it's praise, book 4. Psalms is comprised of 5 books. Attribution, who wrote it? They're saying anonymous, a structure, chiastic structure. And when we talk about chiastic structure, let me show you. Let's open it. Okay, here we go. The first section, A, praise the Lord. O, give thanks to the Lord. They're both saying the same thing. If you look at it, why? For he is good. His mercy endures forever. So these two are similar. A, who can utter the mighty acts of God? Who can declare? What can you declare? All his praise. B. So that's something that the Psalms are written in. And when you begin to recognize it, you begin to see a pattern as to how they spoke, how they wrote. We tend to focus on start to finish or beginning to end. Very often with chiastic structures, you have something, what is at the beginning is at the end. Look for what's in the center. So if you look at the book of Revelation, you will find that what is at the beginning of the book is similar to what's in the ending of the book. And Revelation continues on until it reaches its center around chapters 12 to 14, depending on which Bible student you're talking to. But the interactive tool is quite rich in what it has to offer. Names of God, never looked at that one before. Lord, it pronounces it for you. And then it pulls up all of the instances where it's found. Sorry about that. So that's another tool that they have in their collection. The interactives. Weights and measures converter. Let's try that and see. Convert unit 5 lbs, 5 pounds. Okay, that doesn't work. Heavy talent, and you can get an idea. So when they talk about mites, let's see. Widow's mites, that would come under money. Amina, not even showing here, so I'd probably have to look for it in another phrase. But a talent, is it in here? Denarius, a working day's wage. I don't know how often they change these, but that's a general overview of what Logos is capable of doing, as much more as you explore through it. But leave your comments in the chat. Remember to hit the subscribe button so that when we upload the next video, you will be able to be notified and you'll be able to be benefited from it.